Reza, if someone is sitting with a credit score below 650, the internet will throw a million different strategies at them. To cut through the noise, what are the only three things they should actually be focusing on?
It varies from person to person, but for the most part, the thing that you should really focus on first is your credit utilization, which is how much of your credit on your credit card, for example, are you using. Always try to bring that under 10% of a single trade line or credit card, not your total credit line. So, for example, if you have five credit cards and four of them are at 0% utilization and one of them is at 90% utilization, that's not good. Try to keep every single card under 10%, and your credit utilization is a major factor. When you start racking up your the balance on your card, it's a signal that you're stretched, and if you're stretched, you're at higher risk, most likely, according to various models. So keep your credit utilization low. The next one is actually just showing a history of on-time payments and consistency behind it. Even one mispayment delinquency can hurt you. So be on top of all your payments and make sure that you have zero mispayments, pay your bills on time. Try to add additional history around on-time payments with rent, utilities, phone bills, for example, and keep that consistent. Keep that very, very, very healthy. Last one, and this one is it can vary depending on the person, but I'll say it's actually credit history and credit mix. How long have you had the trade lines with the credit? And a lot of new ones can really hurt your credit. Try to keep all your old accounts at least open. If you have, let's say you have old credit cards, don't close them. Put a small payment on them, build your credit payment history, but also keep them going, because your credit history matters. And if you add the credit mix onto that, which is having different types of credit, personal loans, credit cards, again, rent, utility, bill payments, all of this adds a mix, and all of these collectively send a signal to the bureaus that you are responsible, you have varied types of credits, and actually you can be trusted with not just making payments, but not extending yourself too much on the credit lines or the credit cards that you already have. And if you do this consistently for a while and don't make mistakes, drop the ball, there's actually a very, very, very high chance your credit score is going to start creeping up. And if you keep doing it, it'll just stay there or just improve in a more minimal way. But it's not going to drop like a tank, and you'll start seeing results. The key thing here is consistency, variety, and discipline. And if you stick with that, I have not yet seen anybody not be successful with that strategy.
Let's look at the weight of those factors. Why do payment
Yeah.
history, utilization, and credit mix carry so much leverage when someone's trying to bump up their score?
It actually just comes down to the model. The models that these credit bureaus have been using are tried and tested. They've done this over decades. It's not just a few data points. And consistently, the data shows that all these factors, when taken into account, reflect your credit risk. And that's all what lenders are looking for. They're looking to understand if it's risky to lend you and how risky is it. So these factors over time have shown that, look, if these factors are positive in your favor, that you will most likely pay off the loan that you're given, and you'll pay them on time. And the part that's important to understand is models vary over time. Different lenders also have different models, different bureaus. Actually, the Vantage model is slightly different from the FICO model. But all of these models are based on input data, and all of them are correlated to these factors. And it has been very consistent. And this is where I have to give a little bit of credit to the bureaus and FICO and the lenders, is that these models are very sophisticated, and these models actually show that these factors are the most important ones to take care of. And the good thing is that as a user, as a person who's interested in credit, now you know, and it's made very clear. So your game plan is clear. It's not obfuscated. So if you just stick with this, most likely your credit is going to be in a good place.
You often see people working incredibly hard on their credit but getting zero results. What are the wrong tactics or traps most people waste their time on instead of focusing on the big three?
Yeah, I think it's less about long tactics and actually about discipline. So it is like, think about, like, it's like going to the gym, right? If you go to the gym for consistently for a week, great. But it's more important to go consistently over a longer period of time, even if it's not as frequently. And that's where most people fail. So somebody can be, most people can be disciplined for a short amount of time, but it's a little bit harder to stay disciplined over a longer period of time, over months, over years. But that's where the reward is. And most people that I've seen fall off the credit, I call it the credit escalator, are folks who take all the right steps in the beginning, and really are motivated. But over time, when things start going their way, for example, their score goes up and they start applying for different products like credit cards, and they start kind of falling back on some of the bad habits. Like, they start increasing their credit utilization. They start putting a lot of balance on their credit cards. They start taking on too much debt. And that's where things start falling and slipping backwards. And the key thing is actually consistency. As with everything else, financial health, personal physical health, consistency is more important than anything else. And there are some traps, as I mentioned, getting onto too much debt, forgetting to make some payments, miss some payments, take your eye off the ball. And that's why there are tools out there that can help you stay disciplined, that are focused on helping you get to the right credit score that you need, add variety and all of those factors. And all you have to do is just stick with the plan, right? Stick with the tools, or stick by yourself if you're doing it. Stick with it. It's hard, but again, the cost of having a bad credit score is much higher than the cost of discipline that will take you to a better credit score.
If someone needs to see an upward trend in their score as quickly as possible, what is the absolute fastest way to secure that massive 35% payment history chunk?
Yeah, I think some of the quick wins. So they're quick wins, they are long-lasting wins. But quick wins, there are some quick wins, and some of the quick wins are related to, again, bringing your credit utilization down below 10% as quickly as possible. That could involve paying off your credit card balance, controlling your spend. So those are some factors. Other things that can really help you is just adding more trade lines and more on-time payments. For example, if you pay your rent, your utilities, if you can not just add on-time payments going forward, but can you go back historically and take credit for last 2 years of your credit of on-time payments? That can be very useful. Yeah. So there's no one set formula, but there's some ways you can do that. And another one actually is removing, derogatory or incorrect information on your credit report. That can also help. And even if it's correct, it's worth trying to contact your credit card, for example, with whom you might have been delinquent on a payment, several months ago or some time back, and requesting them to remove that derogatory or negative remark on your credit report. So that can also help. But these are, again, short term. They might give you a little bit of a boost in the beginning, but there is no alternative to the long game. And the long game is consistency and discipline and staying on top, making sure all your credit factors are in a good place, on-time payment history, never missing a payment, always paying, always keeping your utilization low, and small things like, hey, paying off your credit card a few days before the statement your payment is due, so that the reporting to the bureau is of a zero balance. Small things like that can help. Again, small changes, maybe some boosts, and helpful, but there's nothing like the long-term discipline that's needed to consistently keep your credit score up, because that's what matters in the long run.
Another fast track tactic you mentioned is adding trade lines quickly. For a beginner, what does adding a trade line actually mean? And why does it act like a turbo boost for a sub 650 score?
Yeah, a trade line is simply a account, a credit account. So, for example, a credit card is a trade line, a personal loan is a trade line, your mortgage is a trade line, your car loan is a trade line, a secured loan is a trade line, a line of credit is a trade line. These are all trade lines. And adding more with more variety and staying on top and making those payments actually helps. Now, you have to also be careful that you don't add too much too soon because that also shows that you're applying for a lot of credit. There might be some hard pulls. So there's some caveats to that. And again, there is no short term, 1 week solution to a better credit score that is sustainable. So what you have to do is you have to take this the long game. You have to start doing those things over a period of time. But adding these trade lines and increasing your credit limit so utilization can be brought down are tactics that you can use and tactics that are quite effective at times to help with your credit. But you have to be careful, not add too much, not do a lot of hard pulls because that'll hit your credit score in the short term, and stick with the things that actually matter to lenders, to the bureaus, which is your credit utilization, on-time payments, adding as much history as possible. Again, as I mentioned, renting utilities is a great way to add historical or going forward payment history for things you already do, which is pay your utility bills, your rent. So that's the way to kind of address the immediate needs around your credit, and to address trade lines. Long term, again, I would say stick to a disciplined approach, do things in a methodical way, and stay on top of all your payments.
Everyone wants a perfect credit score overnight. Realistically, if someone followed the step-by-step guide, what does the timeline look like to see actual movement? Are we talking weeks or months?
Again, it varies. It depends from person to person. But most of the time, I've seen people actually have a meaningful impact on their credit score within months. If they stay disciplined, if they do the right things, if they have a tool that can really help them get there, that is fully customized to help them, precisely designed to help them improve their credit score, build a credit history, get to the credit score that they really want to get to. And months is very, very realistic. Some people have a impact within weeks. That often happens when they don't have a lot of trade lines, they have a lot of low-hanging fruit. But months is realistic. And the most sustainable and the biggest jumps I've seen happens really around the 1 year mark. And that's where I've seen people go from 580, 600 to 700 or 700 plus. And then if they can stay on top of the good things they've been doing, that score just stays there or starts creeping up to 700 plus. And I personally have seen my score over the years go from the 700s to the 800s. And it's the discipline and the habits. And those habits get easier over time because now you know what to do.
Sticking to a manual schedule for all this is usually where people drop the ball. How do automated systems change the game and make staying consistent effortless?
Yeah, a manual, relying on yourself and your memory to get things done is a surefire way to make mistakes. I love the concept of auto payment. I mean, whoever invented that is awesome because now you don't have to think about it. Money's going to be pulled automatically to pay your credit card bills, for example. Auto payment is absolutely fantastic, and you should always do that whenever it comes to your car payments, credit payments, or personal loans. Any payment you have, auto payment is the best. Now, auto payment may not work for everybody, especially if your paycheck is a little bit inconsistent or you don't always have the amount available you need in your credit account, in your bank account. So it's sometimes challenging, but automation is a surefire way to make sure that you make as little mistakes as possible. One example is you can use credit building tools, credit building apps that give you a lot of leeway and help you. Let's say, if they can't pull a payment on a particular day, they'll try again, and they will try at a cost to them, find a way to pull the payment at the right time because they really don't want your credit score to get hurt. But some banks don't care, and you'll be charged with overdraft and all kinds of problems. So automation is great if you have the money in the bank account. If you don't, You might have to rely on some credit building tools, or you have to spend a little bit more time making sure that your bank account has the funds so that you don't the payment doesn't bounce and you don't get hit with a delinquency. I think those are great. And finally, I think there's another savvy way. A lot of people are doing this. They're personal financial management tools people have that you can subscribe to that gives you a very good sense of your cash flow when money's coming out, when money's going out. It gives you a little bit of a sense of like, hey, if I were to set up payments on a particular date, if I were to set up automatic payments the beginning of the month versus the end of the month, what would that look like? So there are things you can do, but end of the day, you have to figure out a system that works for you. There are tools out there that help make it easier, but there's no substitute for vigilance on your behalf, on your own self, and understanding what works for you. And I think the credit building tools of today have become very sophisticated, and they are very, very geared towards your best interest for the most part, most of them. So you have to look into that and see how you can make the best of it. But again, like I said, there is no substitute to self-vigilance, and automation can help. But end of the day, you're responsible for your credit score and making sure that all the payments happen on time.
Before we wrap up, what is the compliance reality check people need to understand about how Ava works alongside the overall financial picture?
Yeah. One of the most important things to realize is that the job of credit building tools like Ava is to showcase your true credit worthiness, not to make you look less riskier or better than you actually are, because that's not good for you. And that's not good for lenders, that's not good for the ecosystem, and that really hurts you and the ecosystem in the long run. So the reality that we must square up with is that good behaviors are rewarded, and bad behaviors, such as missing payments, not staying on top of payments, being undisciplined about your bank account, having cash in there sometimes but not others, really is a signal that cannot be ignored. And the credit score is an important indicator, not just for lenders, but also for you, because it shows that are you ready to take on debt? If you have a very low credit score, it's a signal not just for lenders, but also for you that, look, at this point, I'm not ready. And as your score goes up, it's a signal that you are getting ready. You are ready to take on more debt and be responsible for it. So compliance is there for the ecosystem to be healthy, and in the lending ecosystem, it's not just lenders but also you and others like you. So take the credit score. I urge everyone to look at the credit score not as a judgment, but more as a signal about your capabilities. And if the score is low, it just says you're not, just like you go to the gym, and if you're not ready to bench press 400 pounds, you're not ready. And it's going to hurt you if you try that. So the compliance and the ecosystem and the reporting requirements are all geared towards not just to protect lenders, but also to help you and protect you. And as your score goes up, if it goes up, think of it as a signal that you're getting better, you're getting stronger, you're getting more disciplined. And if you can stay there, it's another signal that you're ready to take on debt and be responsible. And there's nothing like taking on debt and not being able to pay off your debt and going into default. And then, some people go into bankruptcy and they go really way far behind than where they started originally. So again, debt it can be good, can be bad. A credit score can be good, can be bad. It all depends on the context. And you have to look at yourself and ask yourself, am I ready to take on the responsibilities of credit? And can I behave and can I stay disciplined so that whatever financial situation I'm in is sustainable and not just short term?